Oh,
All right.
Hooray for Hollywood.
there he is.
Okay, now you're good.
Well,
Oscars. Are we talking about the Oscars?
we can. I mean, it's up to the group. Do we want to
Okay,
talk?
I'm going to rattle off because I am very curious to see if I've seen any of these and or if I've heard of 80. I'll say 75%. What's that? 3 out of 4. Ooh,
For you.
I'll
Yeah.
say I might know 25. I might know 1 out of 4. What won Best Picture?
Nora.
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 A space Nora,
No,
like Nora Jones.
Anaora.
Yeah.
All one word.
So like Sans Nora.
Yeah. Like Casanora.
What's it about?
So it's
Did either of you see it?
Yeah, I've seen every nominee, but I'm Still Here, which at the time you couldn't stream it anywhere. It's now available. Anora is kind of like Pretty Woman, but she's a stripper who moonlights as a companion, a lady of the night, a lot lizard, you might say. And then she, so it's in this case, instead of Richard Gere, it's a Russian like oligarch son who's like 20 and he just parties all the time. So the first half of the movie is very storybook Pretty Woman, and then it takes a twist. I won't spoil it, but it's very interesting. I really like the movie. During the Oscar broadcast, Conan said I think it had somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 F-bombs in it, which is like, that's a lot of F-bombs. Most movies that I consider that have a lot of language, I mean, think about how many 100 F-bombs is. And then you're like quadruple that. It's a very R-rated movie and it's not for children.
I mean, is it like a notable director or anything? Is it a foreign film?
It is not a foreign film, but I believe it is a first-time director or someone who has not directed very much. Like, no? Okay. Just giving the Runja head shake.
He's directed a number of movies. He did, you've seen it on Red Letter Media. They talk about Red Rocket, a movie about like the guy that used to be in porn, and then he comes, like, he kind of goes back to his wife. And like
that was on one of their like no one's talking about this movies that no one saw thing. Okay,
yeah,
and that was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, he directed this movie. He directed that movie. He directed a movie called The Florida Project, which
The Florida Project,
pretty well
and
known.
that had some. Excuse me, that's 2017. That had some nominees. And Tangerine, I remember that being a kind of a hot movie. This is a very it's a very well written movie. It's a very fun script. It's like, you know, when I say it takes a twist, you probably naturally go, oh, it takes a dark twist or it's a violent movie. It's not a violent movie. It's like, it's very funny. So it's kind of an improbable love story, or is it? I don't know. That's Nora. It won though.
Do you think it deserved it? Would it make, or rattle off the nominees for that really quick? I guess let's do movie, actor, and actress, and then I mean, I guarantee I probably don't know any of the actors or actresses that won. Unless it was like Brad Pitt.
All right, so the nominees for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And I will guess, Troy, you said 25%.
1 in 4.
I'm gonna guess 0%.
Okay, I get it. All right, so Nora, no.
Over under on 0%. Troy's seen any Best Picture nominee. I don't know how you go under 0. But.
Seen is a 0.
Yeah, I'd say 0 for seen.
I might put it at how many were there? 8 or 9?
There are.
Or were there full on 10?
Yeah, it was 10.
Okay.
So your chances go up.
Under at 1.5. I'd put the over under at 1.5.
Okay, I'll take the under. All right. There's one movie on there here that I think Troy will eventually want to see at some point, but I don't think he has already.
There's one I 100% know that he's probably heard of.
So I'm sorry. Are we doing heard of or seen?
Heard of.
Two
seen.
different.
Seen is a 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I saw any new movie unless Godzilla. Was Godzilla last year?
No,
that might have been 3 years ago.
Godzilla -1. That was last year.
Oh, was it? Okay.
2023. So I would have seen one, but that was 2023. So no, I don't think I've seen a
You've
2020.
seen zero of these, and I think you've heard of at least two. So I'll take the over, Ramja.
You're
All
taking the over. Okay.
There's
here we
two
go.
movies on here I think he's heard of. All right.
Okay.
So Honora, we've discussed, winner of
Have
Best
not.
Picture. Amelia Perez, a Mexican crime musical.
Okay, so foreign film.
It was.
I'd never heard of it, so that's
Yeah.
not nothing.
It's
to be
got Zoe
ashamed
Saldana in it. You know who
Yep.
the green lady from Gamora from
Avatar?
Avengers.
of.
Okay.
More.
See, I wouldn't recognize her not as Gamora though.
Yeah, and Avatar. Yeah, good call. That's not one of the ones I thought you might have heard of. All right, how about this one? A Complete Unknown, starring Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan. Okay, all right.
I mean, hold
that was a
on.
wild card. I thought he might have heard of that one. That's not one of the ones I thought he.
That's why I'm taking the under.
Hold on. Now, and I would say it does not count. I knew that there was supposed to be a Bob Dylan movie coming out at some point in time, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you what year or if it had come out yet. So what is this movie called?
A Complete Unknown.
A Whisper in Time?
Unknown, would you have a complete unknown?
The movie was completely unknown to you.
Well, but what was the movie actually called?
A Complete Unknown.
a complete unknown.
The Bob Dylan story?
No, it's just
No.
that's the whole title. Just a
Okay,
Complete
then
Unknown.
no. I wouldn't get credit for that if I was taking a test, so no.
All right,
Okay.
that's okay.
Oh,
right.
for so far.
Next up, Conclave. It is a pope has passed suddenly, maybe under mysterious circumstances, and it goes through the conclave process where they select a new pope.
Nope.
Very good. I thought that this was a fantastic movie.
Okay.
That's very watchable for normal people. Not like it's not super artsy. It's just a kind of a cool thriller. And you see,
I heard it was.
all the behind the scene,
Yeah.
stuff going on in the Vatican. Like I think that's cool.
I was gonna say I heard it's kind of like if like high school and like all the different like personal dynamics kind of like were in in the Vatican City or something like that.
Also, John Lithgow is in the movie, and I would challenge anyone. Tell me a bad John Lithgow performance. He's rock solid in everything, and he's rock solid in this.
Planet
All
of the
right.
Apes.
He's in Harry and the Hendersons. It's kind of like Planet of the Apes.
I thought he was in Planet of the Apes.
Maybe. He is.
Doesn't he play his like dad that has Alzheimer's or something like
Yes, I
that?
forgot about.
Oh yes.
He's like patient
that is a
00.
bad- That is kind of a bad John Lithgow performance. That's actually the winner.
I get bonus points.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
But I remember, I don't know if we saw that in the theater room. I thought I saw it with you, but like I remember really liking that movie, despite it having that. And then what's his name is in it too?
James Franco.
Yes, thank
That
you.
was
Which
the
is like, who is this? Why is he in this?
It's a good movie.
That was the problem with that movie.
I liked it.
Was John Lithgow. I thought that movie was really good, except for James Franco, who is not believable as a like DNA like specialist. And I thought John Lithgow.
You don't buy him as a scientist?
He's a scientist. DNA
Developing like
specialist.
a brand new thing.
I forgot about that.
no.
That's so funny.
And the thing that pissed me off about him is that like they're using like his company is like we're going to use this medicine to like test on chimps and maybe it'll make them smarter, like we're going to try and do this, and he's like, that's wrong, you can't test on chimpanzees like that or whatever it is. And what's he do? He takes the medicine home like behind his company's back and is trying to like cure his dad. Like, you can't have it both ways, James Franco. You can't say it's wrong to experiment. You're doing an unlicensed experiment. Like, what is going on here? Just because you're the protagonist doesn't mean it's okay for you to do that.
But I'm the protagonist.
And he basically ended the world by doing that.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yes, he screwed everything up. So
one of
has
the
there been a movie where somebody does say, "But I'm the protagonist," because there should be. There totally should be.
I've seen I don't know how many of those movies. I know I've seen the first one, and I've seen the second one, but the naming convention has. So Stacey always jokes it's called like Rise of the Revenge of the Ascension of the Planet of the Apes. Like she'll like make up like 3 new words every time. I don't know what they're on now, and I don't know. There's one of them that BP is a friend of the show. BP claims that we've seen together. I don't. But the thing is, I say no, but I don't even know because they all have these goofy, stupid names.
Because because there's Rise, which is the first one. I know
Revenge.
there's War
Dawn.
for the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And I think the newest one is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
All right.
So.
All right, so that's Conclave for you.
So no, I have not seen that or heard of that. I have not heard of that either.
It's John Lithgow. I was like, how did we get from Conclave to that movie? There we go.
I was staring at the screen. I kept seeing Conclave. I'm like, I really don't know how we got there.
My
Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys is a Jim Crow era. A young black man is apprehended under erroneous circumstances. He's a minor, so he gets sent off to a reform school. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently these like reform schools were very common in the South. It's basically like a prison, but not. It had no chance of winning, but I thought it was really good. It's all told two characters. There's two main characters, and it's all told from first person. And I don't know that I've seen a movie commit to that 100%, other than what was that? Charlton Copley. Copley movie?
No. Was he Charlton Copley? Was like the?
Or I think maybe he was in it.
First, okay. I was like, yeah. What is? It's something Max, I think. Like Hardcore Henry, I think.
Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, it's a very.
How do I know that? It's ridiculous.
So Nickel Boys
shot in first person. Nickel Boys.
It's
and
shot in first person.
Yeah, so like everything you're seeing from the vantage point. When they're talking, it's like and it has a really cool twist. It's obviously an unpleasant topic, but it was very good.
Cool.
I'm still
never
here.
Heard of it.
I'm still here. Have not seen it. It won for best foreign language film. To me, I don't know. I like to play the numbers here on the Oscars, but if you're nominated for best picture and you're nominated for best foreign language film, and none of the other foreign language films are nominated for best picture, doesn't it seem like a safe bet to go with the one that's nominated for both? So on my little bracket sheet, that's what I picked, and it won. It's some sort of thriller drama thing. I have no idea what it's about. The Substance, starring Demi Moore. It is
only because it's on Red Letter Media.
Excuse me.
Okay, so we checkmark one.
Demi Moore. Damn it, that's right. I should have thought about that.
I didn't think Troy would know this one. This is not one of mine.
That's not the one I was thinking Troy would know.
Did Red Letter Media like the Substance?
Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Jay loved it.
I really, really liked it. It is.
It's like body horror, right? Which is his big thing, if I understand his movie fetishes correctly.
Yeah.
He probably likes The Fly.
Oh yeah.
I think this movie has more in common with The Fly than anything else I've ever seen. It's awesome. It's also it's definitely making a statement about young actresses in Hollywood aging out and being thrown away and then replaced by a new young actress. I mean, that's obviously still taking place in Hollywood, but the movie is written and directed by a woman also. And normally I'm not like, oh, well, that's cool. There's a woman that wrote it, but like the vision and like the story that's being told is very much from a woman's perspective. And I found it very compelling, and it goes, I've recommended it to a number of people, and I'll text them while they're watching it. My mom watched it, which is wild. And I'm like, well, hey, how's it going? And she's like, oh, it's pretty weird. And then I'm like, where are you at? How many minutes in? Oh, 45. And then like when it hits like 20 to 30 minutes left, it goes absolutely insane. And it's fun to talk to people about that. All right. So one check mark.
Would that have been your pick? Was that your pick?
No.
For movie of the year? Well, I want to ask a quick question, because I don't know anything else that she's been in except for I think the actress that plays young Demi Moore, she's one of the main Manson girls in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yes. And I thought she was really, really good. She's like she might be like the main, like she's with Brad Pitt a little bit, like for separate scenes. Yeah. But like, so she's...
Molly, whatever.
She's great in it too.
She's good. Okay. But then that's who she plays, right?
Version of, yeah. And so like the whole concept is you take this drug,
daughter, right?
Really?
Yes, Andy McDowell's daughter. Yeah.
Okay.
But she takes this drug, and then somehow a younger version becomes apparent, and how this younger version materializes is half the fun. And there's like it's like a Tales from the Crypt Black Mirror episode where like don't stay in your younger form too long or something bad will happen, like Gremlins or something. And
I was
then
gonna say, don't feed her after midnight.
yeah, and then well, you can guess maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. It's very uncomfortable. Dennis Quaid is in it also, and he is really like he's like a slimy, TV exec. That's like he's basically the one that throws her out for the younger version. Anyway, it's a very cool movie. I was really happy to see it get nominated. It definitely shouldn't have won, but it was great. Dune Part 2. Dune.
I mean, of course, but like that should not even really shouldn't really count.
But you've heard of
You
Dune
win,
2?
Jeremy.
Oh, we're not done yet, though. We're not done yet.
Oh, I don't think he's gonna know any of the other ones.
No,
I don't even know what the other ones
Troy
are.
knows.
I haven't
Troy knows
seen
the movie Wicked. Have you ever heard of Wicked?
like the not Lord of the Rings, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the musical.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known there was a movie. No, I would actually not count that.
You didn't know that Wicked was a movie? Come on. That's the one of all the movies on this list. That's the one I was sure you had at least heard of.
I know there's a book and I know there's a play. I mean, if you would have took, my rationale would be like, if you said, "Is there a movie for Wicked?" I'd say like, "Yeah, sure, probably." And you say, "When it came out, like 2014, when it was relevant for the first time," or no.
Try
my
November
my girlfriend in college in IU told me about or wanted me to read the Wicked books, and she gave it to me, and I read a couple chapters. Like, I don't like this at all. So
my sister's dog is named Elphaba, and the dog's probably about 13. So yeah, that would like line up right with that same time period. You've heard of Wicked.
Of course, I've heard of Wicked, but again, no. But the test is, and again, there's no money on this, and I don't know why I'm fighting for Matt Jones to win this. I'm not really. Just the fact is,
you want to be a hipster that hasn't heard of these movies.
No, not even that. On a multiple choice, I want to be honest. Like on a multiple choice test, if you said Wicked came out in these 4 years, I would not have picked 2024.
Okay.
Because where would I say I don't walk by movie theaters or anything that have billboards up.
It did have a lot of marketing behind it. I will say Ariana Grande is in it, and you've probably heard of that pop singer.
I've heard the name, but
Jeff Goldblum.
I don't really care for Jeff Goldblum too much. Of course I've heard of Jeff Goldblum, but here's the funny thing: the nice thing and the bad thing about like super focus marketing is I get no commercials for shit that I'm not interested in anymore. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna buy it, but like I don't get a commercial for Wicked. I get a commercial for Old Spice, which I don't think I bought Old Spice for 30 years. But they have the new gimmick commercials that are trying to apply to 42-year-old.
You would be somebody that needs to own Old Spice.
yeah.
Speaking of Old Spice, you probably got served a Dune 2 ad at some point.
I'm sure I got Dune 2.
That was the one I was thinking you would.
Star Wars.
I'd forgotten about Wicked, and I didn't forget about the Substance being on Red Letter.
I didn't think he would know about the Substance, to be honest.
Red Letter Media. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Last
one. Now this is a wild card. Troy may have heard of this one because we talked about it last week. The Brutalist, and this was my personal pick and what I thought was going to win. Adrian Brody.
And the funny thing is unfortunately, yes, I have. Same rules apply. I wouldn't have known what year it came out, but I only know about it because it was a splash page on Amazon when I log in to watch the movies. And I saw Adrian Brody, and I was like, oh, he looks like he's from The Pianist, which if you've seen that movie, which
he is from The Pianist.
Right, but like if I remember correctly, because obviously it's a World War II movie, he lost a bunch of weight, and he looked like part of his whole spiel was like his physical performance for that movie, and like the picture of him for this new movie looked the same thing, like very gaunt, or like he went anorexic almost to like portray a Holocaust survivor or whatever. So okay, what's the movie about?
So he is a Hungarian Jew who survived the war. His wife didn't make it over here. She's still out there, hopefully. He comes over as an immigrant and is just scraping by, and this really rich guy Guy Pearce, who is also nominated for supporting actor for this.
Yeah, actor.
He is a super rich guy, and he commissions Adrian Brody to build this structure in this small Pennsylvania town. And this structure is very mysterious. And the whole, like, why does he want to build it? And what's Adrian Brody doing with his plans? He's doing all these, like, brutalist. The definition is like this harsh, like right angle kind of architecture that's popular. Was popular, and I guess still is, but was, I think, more popular in the like late 90s. Like, I don't know that part, but I saw pictures of a lot of brutalist architecture, and it looked like something that would be sort of mid to late
Soviet
90s
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Soviet
Just
style.
really harsh edges, lots of concrete, and then they'll do a lot of plants to soften it up. So he designs this crazy thing. He goes through a lot of stuff, and then the ending to the movie, I obviously won't spoil it, but the ending to the movie is kind of like like it's just very abrupt. Like, that's what this was all about. And you don't know it until the very end of the movie, which is cool. But it is 3.5 hours long. It literally has a 10-minute intermission on the home streaming version. There's even an intermission, which plays some music, and then there's a countdown timer and everything.
That's pretty funny.
It was very good and very, like, beautiful to look at. And the director of The Brutalist, this is not only a fun fact, it is a verified fun fact. The director has been an actor in some very small roles, and just suddenly makes this crazy movie that's filmed on whatever, I don't know, it's like filmed on some sort of special film stock that Quentin Tarantino
70 millimeter,
something like that. Pan American. That's not right. Something like that.
Super Panavision.
He was an
That's
actor.
like John Carpenter's.
He was an actor in Funny Games and Melancholia. And yeah, he's
von Trier, Melancholia.
This is like his first big movie, so it's kind of a cool story. Anyway, that's all.
So
the
I knew
nominees.
3 of 9 or 2.5 of 9, I guess. So that's about 25%. Not too bad.
Rumja gave me 1.5, so I'll collect on that.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I didn't know 3, but 2 probably.
So that's all the best pictures. Do we want to talk about any others? Or
Vegas odds.
Yeah.
Say what, Matt, or Jeremy?
Oh, I was going to say, do we want to talk any other awards, or are we satiated on the Oscar discussion?
Just real quick, who won Best Actor and Actress? Like, I'm just curious if I know the actor and actress, or if they're like young.
Adrian
pups.
Brody.
Oh, okay.
For The
of course.
Brutalist.
Is that his first, or did he win for Pianist too?
Pianist.
I believe he did. Yeah.
And I do feel bad for giggling, but when you were like, yeah, he plays a Hungarian Jew, I'm like, oh, just like the movie I just described.
I was thinking, like, I don't remember exactly all the details of The Pianist, but could this have been a sequel?
That's what when I saw the poster, I was like, what the hell? What? He's doing the same role?
I think he's
but,
Polish
okay.
in The Pianist, but
well,
all right. So actor, leading role.
We can talk about The Pianist because it relates to the movie we're going to talk about later.
There we go. Yeah, we'll come back.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're right. Mind blown. Okay. All right.
All right. So
Sorry.
actor in a leading role. One cool thing about the Oscars this year also is if you watched all the Best Picture nominees, you could cover most of the ancillary categories as well. So, like Timothée Chalamet is nominated for Complete Unknown, and Ralph Fiennes, who I believe Rumja does a really good Voldemort impression.
No, I don't.
No,
I can't do one. No.
Mr. Potter.
That's Alan Rickman.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. All right.
Snape.
So my favorite movie of the Oscar kind of movies of 2024 was A Real Pain, directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Jesse Eisenberg, written by Jesse Eisenberg, co-starring Kieran Culkin. And it's a road trip movie. Grandma, it's a reoccurring theme. Grandma survived the concentration camps. She moved to America, became an immigrant. She passed away. the cousins go together on a road trip to kind of figure out who she was after she passes. It's great, and apparently Jesse Eisenberg is a Hoosier fan in a big way. He wears an IU hat almost the entirety of the movie, and it's bizarre seeing IU so prevalent in a like a major awards nominated movie. It's awesome, and the movie's fantastic. It's very moving. Performances are great, super well written.
Do we know why he's an IU fan?
I think he is married or dating an IU alum and native of Indiana. So he's been back. There was some story in the Indiana Daily Student involving him and the women's basketball team. I guess he's a big supporter of the women's basketball team as well. But he's just like all about IU. So,
well, I mean, that makes sense if it's like your significant, whatever you call them nowadays, alma mater that you spend a lot of time with. I don't know if he went to school or not. Like, I could see that happening. Like, I've heard of that before. Like, people that maybe even didn't go to college or a major university, like taking up their spouses.
And to be fair,
he dated a lady that her dad, like, he dated somebody that went to IU, and that lady's dad was like a documentarian who lived in Indianapolis and Carmel. So
okay. And to be fair, like, we've all been to IU Bloomington. It's an amazing campus. Like, I could see, like, I don't know, like UCLA is probably a beautiful campus. And USC, I'll bet Jesse Eisenberg went to USC. I'm just making things up right now. But if you visited like Midwest Indiana and went to the Bloomington campus, I could see you being pretty enamored. I was. Sure. I visited it once and I said, that's where I want to go to college.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Compared to some of the other universities in state.
Purdue and their sidewalks. They got the sidewalks on lockdown. Actress in a leading role, Mikey Madsen for Honora. So the actress, the main character, she won that category. But Demi Moore was nominated, and I was very much rooting for her. She's never won basically anything in her whole career. She's never been taken seriously. She did this role. She won the SAG Best Actor. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actor. I'm sorry, Best Actress and Best Actress. And so she was nominated. And like Vegas odds, you could literally, in Indiana at least, you could bet on the Oscars. She was the odds-on favorite to win, and Mikey Madsen won for Honora. So,
is she related to Michael Madsen?
I don't think so. It's actually Madison. I just said Madsen.
Oh. Funny thing is, like, Quentin Tarantino has the eye for young actresses because she was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 10 years ago now. Good as call. One of the Manson girls. So two of the Manson girls that had kind of bit roles are now in two of the biggest movies ever, or of the year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mikey Madsen's in that hilarious ending scene of that movie with Brad Pitt and the dog, which is like, I didn't love the movie, and I went and rewatched it, and I liked it a lot more the second time.
Sure.
But that final sequence of that movie is incredible. The last 10 minutes or so. And then you got the flamethrower. I mean, everything is...
Well, Brad Pitt tripping out on acid and like just beating the crap out of people. It's sorry if you haven't seen it, Matt Jones. Not to spoil it.
Oh, no, I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah.
Another, by the way, unfortunately, in real life, an actress passed away in that whole debacle, Sharon Tate, who ties in this movie tonight as well. All right,
it's all coming up Polanski.
Actress in a supporting role, Zoe Saldana. Now, Troy, we don't need to get into this, but there was a lot of controversy because it's directed by a Spanish director, and he hired 0 Mexican actors and actresses, but the movie takes place in Mexico. So, and one of the main characters also is a trans character. So this was like a lightning rod of controversy this year.
When you said Spanish director, did you mean Mexican director?
No, I mean from Spain.
Okay.
So he's a Spanish.
So he's a Spaniard making a movie in Mexico with North America, United
with
States,
not Mexican actors, but Spanish-speaking actors. So Mexico was very upset about this because it's like you pick people that don't really talk like us. You wrote this thing. It's like you didn't really capture what Mexico's really like. So they were mad. And then obviously there's a character in it who is trans, and it's a cartel person. It's a really bad guy who later becomes girl. And it's a really bad person. So the trans community was very upset with the movie because, like, hey, we finally got a movie with a trans character, and you picked a complete terrible human being to be our representation. So it had a lot going against it. But in summation, Zoe Saldana was created. So, and it's a musical, all that, and it's also a musical.
I mean, I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't even know what to say if I were you either.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I understand because I do. I guess this is completely off topic, but the only pop culture kind of opinions I get are video game related, and people do sometimes at least talk about some of the backlash that I guess they're seeing on message boards like Reddit and stuff like that I don't visit or I don't have a subscription to or whatever. So like I can't imagine that I don't want to say toxic, but it's like if and I hate to say because like the old person thing. It's like if you don't like it, just don't watch it, but don't not let someone make whatever they want, especially when it's art and it's like it's not meant to please everybody, man. Like, so I mean, I don't know. Like the fact that people know that it's a thing, like, well, this community didn't like this about it's like,
yeah, it's tough.
Okay,
and the lead, the trans actress that played the lead character, she did great. But then I left this part out. Apparently, she had some problematic tweets like 10 years ago where and you're like, all right, well, it's a trans actress. What did she get herself into to get herself canceled? It was like racist stuff. And it's like, oh, so it's like every single thing every checkbox of problematic-ism that this movie could have had, it had. And it pissed off everyone. It's like the whole, like the Charlie Day red string meme. That's how many people were mad about this movie. I thought it was fine.
Not the way you want to go into the award season.
Right, exactly.
Well, nobody would have had anything. Oh, sorry, Matt Jones.
I was like, before we move on to anything different, I want to know why Jeremy likes Flo better than the Wild Robot. Go.
Okay, so good transition. I appreciate you setting up that segue. The last category I wanted to hit, animated feature. This was a wild category this year, I thought. Where is it?
Keep going. I'm gonna be right back.
I went too far. I'm going back. Too many scrolls. Animated feature film. We had Flow, a Croatian film. Latvian. Thank you. Latvian. We had Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, which I have acquired. I have not watched it. There's always understand why. There's always a Wallace and Gromit movie in here. I don't know who watches them.
This is the first one they've made in a number of years. Have you never seen any of the Wallace and Gromit?
No, I have, but I feel like every time they make one that's nominated, it never wins.
It's true, but they're always excellent. Wallace and Gromit movies are always excellent.
It's not Wallace and Gromit, but it's the same people. I love Chicken Run. If you've seen Chicken Run.
I've never seen Chicken Run. Nope.
It's fantastic.
Never seen it.
It's great.
Cool.
And then we have the Wild Robot. So I'll tell you my two favorites of them. If I was to rank these, okay, I haven't seen Wallace and Gromit, so I'll check. That's at the bottom and tied with Memoir of a Snail. I put Inside Out 2. And then I really struggle with the Wild Robot versus Flow because I really like both of them. Now,
so you like Inside Out 2 first? That'd be your number one pick.
No. Inside Out would be number 3, and then
okay.
And then I'd probably put Wild Robot at 2 and Flow at number 1.
Okay. Explain why.
I've just never seen anything like it. I was very taken by Troy, the winner of the animated feature film was Flow. It's Latvian. It has literally not a word of dialogue in it other than animal sounds. and there's a flood that comes in, and a bunch of animals ride on a raft together, and they go on some things, and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what that means, but that's interesting. And then the movie ends. But I was just very taken by. I've never seen anything like it, and the animation I thought was so unique and beautiful. It was made in Blender. Troy, have you ever heard of Blender? It's like a rendering software thing. It's open source. So
Okay.
so a not a country that's not known for animation, let's put it that way, wins best animated feature with a movie that they made on a shoestring budget with an open source animation software. Beats the likes of Pixar, DreamWorks, whoever makes Wallace and Gromit. That's pretty impressive.
Aardman. Yeah.
It was an upset for sure.
I mean,
and I think an undeserved one. So.
But Rumja, the Wild Robot is so good. Like, it's really, really good.
It is so good. It is so good. It is. That was my thing and I watched it. We watched it back to back. We watched Wild Robot and then we watched Flow. I watched feature. It with our youngest, and he was all in on Wild Robot. He enjoyed it, and then he at some point in time kind of got bored with Flow, and I had to kind of convince him, like, no, we should keep going, and he liked it fine. But I kind of agree with him. It's like, all right, I mean, there's some cool images. I don't think the animation looks that great. I mean, it looks good. It's like a different style, but like, I'm glad they made it in Blender. But like, when I'm talking about a movie, like, that doesn't matter. Like, if I can be impressed. I think we talked about it a little bit with Assault on Precinct 13. It's like, yeah, I can be impressed that they made this movie for $100,000, and that's really cool for, like, as an experiment. But at the end of the day, if I have to choose between two movies to watch, I'm going to want to watch the one that looks better and, like, has better action if there's more money invested. And I think, like, Wild Robot looks awesome. I think it's got a great message. You know, as a parent, it, like, is perfect. Like, so many, like, things about it that the robot brings up are so good. I've had, definitely had some tears at different points throughout that movie.
Warranted.
And like for Flow, I was just like, this is kind of cool. And like, I didn't know that they made it in some open source thing. Like, that's cool. But overall, like, it did not capture me the same way as Wild Robot. So
I will not argue against that point. I mean, like, and I think between the two, like, the Wild Robot is much more watchable. It's like, this isn't, I want to say, don't throw things at me, this isn't best kids movie. It's best animated feature film. So like, I appreciate that like this kind of artsy underdog little movie won and beat out all the big dogs that had tons of money behind them. But if I had to pick one to watch again, I would absolutely of this list watch a Wild Robot in a second over anything else. So
yeah, the only other thing I want to mention is that like, I don't necessarily know that I think of DreamWorks in the same tier as like a Pixar or a Disney, but man, their last few movies have been really, really good.
But they have the highest grossing animated film of all time in Shrek.
Yeah, I think Shrek is like an out. I have to see the newest one, which I haven't seen. I don't think Shrek is anywhere near as good as any of the Disney movies or the Pixar movies. Shrek is. You watch Shrek, the original Shrek now, it looks ugly. It is hard to watch.
They have a Matrix joke in it. They have a Matrix joke, and that is so cringe.
It is definitely,
so dated,
that's
it
the
doesn't
word.
hold up. Yeah.
It does not hold up. It is not. It is really kind of a lot of the humor depends on you knowing some background stories about why they hate Disney, like making fun of Disney stuff.
Yeah, there's a fart thing.
Yeah,
I get it.
But like, I thought Bad Guys was a good one. Like, their animation style has improved great. How to Train Your Dragons, I liked all three of those How to Train Your Dragons movies.
They do the Sing movies too, right?
I don't know if that's them or Illumination.
It might be Illumination, yeah.
It might. And Illumination, I cannot stand Illumination. They
do all the Minions
movies.
Drooch or what? Drooch? What's his name?
What? Gru?
Gru.
Despicable Me. Yeah, the first Despicable Me movie is like it has some like good moments to it, and like there are good moments to it, but as far as like storytelling and emotional like heft, like none of their movies are any good. They are trash. Um, but like
they get over, and then you're
Puss in
like,
Boots,
all right, that
Puss
was
in Boots,
about
The Last
the
Wish.
right.
That
Yeah,
movie is awesome. That movie is great. So
yeah.
I just want to shout out DreamWorks for turning things around from Shrek.
And a Shark's Tale. You didn't want to do a Shark's Tale
Oh
too?
yeah. They did Prince of Egypt, and I never saw that, but I heard really good things about Prince of Egypt back in the day. But
Yeah, and the
anyways,
Road to El Dorado. I don't
yeah, I never saw that one.
know. Troy, you ever heard of the Road to El Dorado?
To be fair, I haven't seen what is it like Treasure Island, like the Disney
Ooh, that's
movies
really
that came
good.
out like
That's really
in the
good.
late. I want to say like the late '90s, early 2000s Disney movies that are 2D animated. I did not see. There's like what I forget what other ones there are.
There is another one.
It
I
was
can't.
that just shows I don't know what it is
Yeah.
'cause it's but it was yeah, Treasure Island I never saw.
Well, the
Never
best
saw that.
movie out of any of those you named and that ever came out or will come out is Emperor's New Groove, so it doesn't matter. Just watch Emperor's New Groove. It's the best
I've seen it.
anything movie ever made.
With Eddie Murphy and David Spade. Is that right?
No. No. It's David Spade and
David
Putty
Spade,
from
John
Seinfeld.
Goodman.
Oh, that's
John
right. Okay.
Goodman.
Oh yeah, John Goodman.
No,
Putty
but
Putty is in it with Eartha Kitt. He's the bad guy.
Eddie
He was
Murphy's-
so good that he has his own show. He got his own show, I think.
He's a
Eddie
very
Murphy
good
was some animated character.
He's in
Disney.
Mulan.
He-
was
he's
the
in
dragon
Shrek.
Mulan.
Oh, Mulan. He's the dragon.
And he was the donkey.
And he's
in
the
Shrek.
donkey. Yeah.
And your boy Lithgow was in Shrek too.
Yeah. Lord
He was-
Farquaad.
no, he's in
Farquaad?
Great
He was
performance.
That's Shrek 1. That's Shrek 1.
Yeah, Shrek 1. I mean, I haven't seen it for 20 years, but
Oh,
I
Shrek
really
as
like.
well. As well. I thought you said Shrek 2. I was like, he wasn't.
Oh,
in
no.
He was dead in that movie.
I think I saw Shrek. I mean, I haven't seen them for a while, but I just liked, what's his name? That's so funny. I don't remember his name. Michael Myers, because he's kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. If I remember, I haven't seen him in anything. And Eddie Murphy. Like, I remember their chemistry and that being really good. I don't remember what the animation looks like or anything like that because I was probably on a 20-inch 4x3 TV VHS, but I like their chemistry in it.
It has Cameron Diaz in it too, and you're just kind of like, that's like that makes sense for that year.
You know, Cameron Diaz.
It's like the meanest
Mask.
thing I've ever said about Cameron
The
Diaz, but I'm
Mask.
just kind of like, all right. I guess
Was she
Cameron
not a
Diaz-
good like? I don't remember anything about Cameron Diaz.
There's nothing remarkable about her.
So not like
Well,
a good actress, but like probably looks.
This is a man who does not remember Cameron Diaz in The Mask.
I do.
There is something
I had a huge
remarkable
crush
about
on her
Cameron
in that
Diaz
movie,
in The Mask.
and then she. Anyway, anything I say from here will make you sound terrible.
You don't like Charlie's Angels, Jeremy?
I like Tom Green in Charlie's Angels.
I know I'm going to now look for The Mask for $5 Club because I haven't seen The Mask for probably
Ooh,
30 years.
Yeah, I have not seen it. Since
I would
it came
love to
out.
see. I could.
That's
I would-
eligible, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wonder if I could get through it. I don't know if I could get through it.
The CG
I don't
is
know if
probably
it is.
hilarious.
I think
like
it's 96. I think
he'll
it's
say
96.
smoke.
Really?
he'll say smoking once, and you'll be like, new movie.
Done.
Oh no, it's 94. It's 94. Yeah.
Stanley
All right.
Ipkiss. And then I don't remember the name of the actor that's like the police guy that's like trying to get him. That's been in a lot of. He's like kind of that guy actor, but
I'm
I
sure.
have it right here. I can figure it.
That's so funny.
Let's see.
Not to get off topic while you're looking it up. Another thing I wanted to watch, I don't know when it's valid, was Airheads. That is not available for purchase in the United States on Amazon Video.
I wonder if it's available though.
Well,
That's
it might be. I'm sure. I'm
was
sure
the
there's a
spirit of the
rip
show.
because there. Well, right. You could certainly get it, and we could watch it just for funsies. But I know I had the DVD at one point or rented the VHS, so I know it is available. But for some reason, Amazon doesn't have the rights. I'm guessing because there's probably music in it, like a Rob Zombie track or something that's playing in the background that they can't clear. That happens every once in a while, and then it will pop back up. So when it does, I'm going to nab it.
Fun idea, just throw it out there. But Happy Gilmore, the sequel, is supposedly coming this summer, I believe, to like straight to Netflix. I'm not saying it's going to be good, but that's probably in the $5 Club range, and
The
it would
original
be
Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, and it would probably be within our window, right? It's probably like 96 or something.
Yeah, and I stand by the original. I think Happy Gilmore is a fantastic comedy, and
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, dude. God,
Mothers.
what's that?
Carl
No,
Weathers.
oh no.
Damn alligator.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My
So,
hand off.
sorry, I'm on my laptop, and my thing just. Am I still on the screen?
You're good.
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
Okay, sorry, it switched over. It wanted me to try to take a phone call. I needed to learn how to turn that off. I haven't been on my Mac for a while. Oh shit! No. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Cool. What were we talking about?
You're about to say something about Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Oh no! Yeah, yeah. And Clubber Lang, or not Clubber Lang? Apollo Creed.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, just Carl Weathers is fantastic in it. Absolutely.
Damn,
Shooter
bit my hand off.
Shooter McGavin is an unsung, like amazing character actor in that movie.
Oh yeah,
Shooter.
So there's a Shooter McGavin Twitter/X account that I've followed for a long time.
Okay.
I would like to think it's the actor. It's probably not, but he tweets so well, or she tweets so well, like within the vein of like it was like last year or a couple years ago, he tweeted out like, on this day, this crazy madman knocked down the TV tower on hole 18 and cost me the game, and like treated it as like this historic golf event
thing. That's pretty good. So in real, as if the character were real.
Yeah.
Tweeting,
and the actor is going. I can't remember his name. Shooter McGavin's going to be in the new one. And I'm almost more excited to see him than any Happy Gilmore stuff. And I hope they bring back that weird little Legend of Zelda looking caddy that he had.
Oh, right.
See,
a little to the left. No, that's because you're not wearing a shoe. Oh.
Christopher McDonald. I can't look at him and not think of I think it's Tabby from Requiem for a Dream. He's like that like got that pitch guy that's like gonna try and get Jared Leto's mom to come, and so that's why she's popping pills, and she wants to be on his show. He's in that movie.
That's like a movie that I'm like not sure if I want to try to watch again.
I've never seen it because everyone's like freaked out about it. So it's like, I mean, I've seen some pretty disturbing movies, so I don't know what's so disturbing about it, but like, I just don't have any interest in I don't know. It's never been on. I don't know what it's about. So like,
just drugs wreck all the main characters' lives, and then it ends in a bummer bro for pretty much everybody.
Oh,
and the biggest bummer bro of all, speaking of the Oscars, is that they gave Julia Roberts the Oscar instead of Ellen Burstyn for the mom role, because it's like one of the best roles.
What did she was? Yeah, I definitely agree. What was Julia Roberts? What did she win for? Oh, Aaron Brockovich. Well, that was a pretty good performance, though.
I never saw that movie, so.
Well, none of those.
I don't like it on principle because Ellen Burstyn should have won.
Well, I'll say this: good movie, but none of those movies were nominated for Best Picture in 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 75? I thought it was earlier for some reason.
Well, that's according to the Academy Awards list. Nominated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 awards in the 1975 Academy Awards. Chinatown.
How many did it win?
It won
70.
This just says the nominee.
Oh, bummer.
Oh, no. It does show winners. Okay, so it won for screenplay.
Okay.
And that's it. So it got snubbed in every other category.
Wow.
Nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, Jack Nicholson, Best Actress, Faye Dunaway.
It was going up against The Godfather Part 2. That's why.
Okay. Best Director, Roman Polanski. Best Writing, Robert Towne. Best Cinematography, Art Direction / Set Direction, Costume Design, Best Sound, Film Editing, and Best Music / Original Dramatic Score.
Well, that's a tough movie to go against. I I'd rather I will cert I've absolutely seen Godfather 2 more times and will see it more times than I'll ever rewatch Chinatown, but oh man, Chinatown is pretty freaking good. And unlike anything I had ever really seen, I think now watching it for the first time since I think I saw it in like college or something like that.
Same.
So
1974's Chinatown, a private detective hired to expose an adulterer in 1930s Los Angeles finds himself caught up in a web of deceit, corruption, and murder. Directed by Roman Problematic Polanski. I figured that'd come up, so I just threw that in there.
Say the least. Yep.
Written by Robert Towne and Roman Polanski, starring Jack Nicholson, Faye Dunaway, John Huston, father of Angelica Houston. That'll come up later. John Hillerman.
He's good.
I put John Hillerman because he's the older guy from Magnum PI. I was watching that. I'm like, oh, that's that old guy.
Never watched that show.
Okay. And Burt Young, who played Curly, who is in Rocky. I don't know anything else other than these two movies that I've seen him in.
And he's the exact same character in both.
Yep.
You could have just lifted him out. It's like, is he playing the same fucking character? Like, is it the same director or something?
Like, give me a ride. Well, what? Not now. Let me talk to my. Just come on. All right. Made on a budget of $6 million. Gross worldwide, $29,231,000. That would be considered a complete failure nowadays.
No.
Well,
that would not be considered a complete
nothing
failure.
is made for $6 million anymore is the problem.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Difference between it's still huge. I'm sure.
It'd be a Blumhouse joint. It'd be or like A24. Yeah, we made this movie for $6 million. It made us 30. They'd probably be pretty happy with that. It's like, man, made us money. Let's keep on doing them.
Yeah.
Good point.
And didn't risk that much either.
Yeah.
So this is what you guys would consider this like a hard-boiled detective murder mystery kind of movie, right? I thought of.
I have no idea how to describe this. Drama.
It's kind of a noirish thriller type of thing. Yeah.
I felt like I'm a humongous fan. This was like one of my early movies that I like really connected with and made me like love movies. Is LA Confidential. Mm-hmm. I feel like you cannot have LA Confidential without this movie. LA Confidential feels like a spiritual successor or something.
Chinatown walked so LA Confidential could run.
There you go. Yeah.
I think I like LA Confidential more than this movie. And if that movie was, and it's getting close.
I think it's 97.
97 or 98, and I think that was a Best Picture nominee as well.
Oh, it sure was.
And I think it had multiple.
That's a good movie. That's a really good movie.
I watched it very recently, and it is outstanding. Guy Pearce.
I mean, it's like 10 superstars in it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
James
Cromwell. Exactly. Russell Crowe, I think that was, I mean, it wasn't his first movie, but that was probably his breakout role. I'm sure Guy Pearce had acted in something before that, probably his breakout role. I love James Cromwell in it a lot. Obviously, Kim Basinger had been in a lot of things before that. Bud Meeks.
Oh, yeah. That's why I think I've been weird to rewatch it, is the Kevin Spacey. Which I did recently, I mean, probably in the last year, rewatch Usual Suspects. And, like, I could look past that to try to enjoy that movie. And, like, I didn't like that movie as much as I liked it in college when I thought it was, like, the coolest movie ever. But it's still a pretty decent movie. And he's, I didn't have to be like, I can't watch this because Kevin Spacey's in it.
Well, you should say you can't watch it because Bryan Singer directed that movie, and Bryan Singer
he's a bigger scumbag. Yeah,
that's fucking crazy. I didn't even think about that.
And he's like confirmed psychopath or whatnot. Because I mean, Spacey's had a lot of allegations. I don't think he's been found guilty anywhere. I think he's had some civil stuff. But like had his biggest one was
Guy Pearce came out recently and was talking about how like it wasn't like he didn't bring it up, but I think he was like Kevin Spacey definitely made me feel awkward when we were on the set of LA Confidential.
Interesting.
So
I don't know. I personally feel like there's probably a lot of scumbags in Hollywood, like there are everywhere.
So
And
sure.
like this is a throwback when I was in, I don't know, in college or maybe high school. My mom was just like, Johnny Depp's just so weird. I don't understand why they don't just get married. Whoever he was, they had like a lifelong whatever. I'm like,
Angelina Jolie.
no,
Or no, that was Brad Pitt. I'm sorry.
No, Brad Pitt,
it was before the very public
Rude.
the situation that
Never.
happened. But anyway, like I'm like, it's not his job to be your friend. It's his job to entertain you. So if he entertained you, then great. He's not coming over for Thanksgiving dinner, so it's fine. I mean, barring like, there's obviously anyway. I'll
Winona Ryder? Was it Winona Ryder?
Maybe.
He was dating her. He dated her. He dated Vanessa Paradis. Whatever. Anyways, Chinatown.
Yeah.
I want some unverified facts.
We got quite a few tonight for you. So
yeah.
I was going to try to break them up into light categories. Don't know that I can do this. Sounds like it was kind of a contentious set. A lot of personalities. So a lot of these tie into that.
That's fun.
First unverified fact we have for you tonight. After several takes that never quite looked right, Faye Dunaway got annoyed and told Jack Nicholson to actually slap her. You guys probably remember that scene later in the movie.
My brother.
He did and felt very guilty for it. Despite it being Dunaway's decision, the shot made it into the movie. So that's a real slap, even though it sounded like a fake slap sound to me.
Oh, I'm sure there was some, Foley in there.
Up. Yeah, you got to Foley it.
Tying into John Huston's role in the movie, I think John Huston died about 15 years ago or something. I looked it up. I want to say like around 2005. At the time of filming Jack Nicholson. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, like 7 years ago, 2005. At the time of filming, Jack Nicholson had just embarked on his long-standing relationship with Angelica Houston. And I had forgotten about this. This made his scenes with her father, John Huston, rather uncomfortable, especially as the only time Angelica was on the set was the day they were filming the scene where Noah Cross interrogates Nicholson's character with Mr. Giddy's, "Do you sleep with my daughter?" And I like that. That's interesting. I really like John Huston in this. I don't know if this is a good moment to talk about it, but all the performances in this movie are outstanding.
Completely sucked into believing, and it says a lot for Jack Nicholson, where it's like, I know him, I've seen him in a million things, right? I was like, no, he's this detective. Like, I don't know. It was crazy good. And I don't know anything about Faye Dunaway, but same thing with her. Is like absolutely incredible for me. It's like getting sucked into a movie.
She's in Network, right? That's how she won her Oscar, if I remember right.
Really? So she got okay, cool. I've heard the name.
That should be put on the list just for
Network
reference.
Never seen it. Sure.
Roman Polanski. Oh,
I was gonna say you were right that they dated, and then he directed Jack Nicholson in Prizzi's Honor, and Angelica Houston is like his girlfriend, like kind of like it kind of on again, off again girlfriend in that movie, and then he falls in love with Kathleen Turner, who is the voice of Jessica Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I don't know if I realized that.
Yeah. So there you go. Just throwing random.
That will come up later as well. Let's see here. Roman Polanski said in staying true to the tradition of Raymond Chandler's detective stories, he shot the whole movie from the perspective of the main character. Also, tied into that, Jack Nicholson is present in every scene of the film. And I want to say,
which is good, and I think that's a good thing for, especially on these types of like, you're trying to figure out these mysteries or like thriller type things. It's like you're trying to figure out what's going on. It really helps if in like these mystery ones where you're following with the detective, because otherwise, if you know more information than he does, it kind of just like cheats. It's kind of cheating you out of things. But
yeah, definitely agree. And tying into that as well, this is the other fun fact I want to include. Roman Polanski eliminated Jake. It's Gittes, right? Gittes? Doesn't he correct people? He eliminated Jake Gittes's voiceover narration, which was written in the script and filmed the movie so that the audience discovered the clues at the same time Gittes did. And I think that is a really good decision. I'm trying to imagine the same movie where it's like, I was going down to this diner. There was this broad, and I had to talk to her.
I can't remember your history with Blade Runner, but there are 2 or 3 versions of Blade Runner, and there is one with Harrison Ford narrating, which is like, I saw the one without first, and when you see it with, it's like, oh my goodness, this is so bizarre. But that's how it was in the theater originally. So
the original did have the narration?
Yes, so far as I understand. Not Chinatown, but it's interesting to hear that. And like, I guess, I don't know, to your point, like, I'd like to hear it with, because I like that character so much. Maybe it would have been inside. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't know if I wrote this one down. It was an unverified fact. I can't verify it, but apparently, like, this is considered in the writing community as one of the best film scripts ever. Like, people consider this the gold standard of like film writing. I don't know if that's true. Can't verify it, but it's a great script.
It's pretty gall-darn good. Going back now and watching it, not taking notes, but trying to see where there's holes, or like, well, they didn't mention that, or like, and it's like, they really kind of like tied up really nicely. I was like, well, I'm trying to think of exact examples, but yeah, it's pretty good if that's what you're meaning by like script writing 101. Like, it's pretty gall-darn good until the ending, which is a total bummer, bro.
It is a bummer, bro. Tying into that last discussion, another fun fact: screenwriter Robert Towne was originally offered $125,000, which would have been probably $10 billion now. I don't know.
Right.
To write a screenplay for The Great Gatsby, but Towne felt he couldn't do better than F. Scott Fitzgerald than the novel, and accepted $25,000 to write his own story, Chinatown, instead. And then the screenplay is regarded as one of the most perfect ever written, and is taught in screenwriting seminars and classes everywhere. Sounds kind of even more made up the way that's written, but it's copy pasta.
I mean, hard to. I mean, it's unverified, so unless you've been to a writing seminar where they've taught.
Right. I haven't been. All right, continue. More fun facts. Unverified. At one point, Roman Polanski and Jack Nicholson got into such a heated argument that Polanski smashed Nicholson's portable television with a mop.
Oh my god!
Nicholson used the television to watch Los Angeles Lakers basketball games and kept stalling shooting.
Thought you were gonna say he got so angry that he took out a knife and sliced his nose, and then he got out on camera. Because that was Roman Polanski who did that.
Yes, that's you're ruining my unverified facts. Apparently, it is verified.
Verified.
Oh, it was the case. Well, yes.
Put it on the board.
Despite lobbying Robert Evans and Jack Nicholson for the chance to direct the film, when he finally landed the gig, Roman Polanski started having second thoughts. The thought of returning to Los Angeles, where his wife, Sharon Tate, had been brutally murdered 4 years earlier, was too overwhelming for him. Obviously, he must have got over it for a lot of money. I don't know. Faye Dunaway and Roman Polanski were notorious for their on-set arguments. During filming, Polanski pulled out some strands of Dunaway's hair. On another occasion, when she asked him what her character's motivation was, he exploded, "Just say the fucking words. Your salary is your motivation." That's a pretty good quote. Again, unverified. Maybe it didn't happen.
I mean, I like hearing about that stuff because, again, as we've done this show and I've actually researched movies more than even just like a director's commentary and stuff like that, and seeing these kind of behind the scenes stuff, like, I guess I take it for granted where for years and years I thought a director was like picking out shots and angles and like running the camera. It's like, no, that's more cinematographer. They might have a really close relationship. A director might do some of that, might do a lot of it, but they might not do hardly any of it. And like, they really are trying to like get this performance out of an actor, like where they're looking and stuff like that. So hearing that there's so much drama between them and the director for this and how good it is, like it's I say, like Jack Nicholson is always looking where he's supposed to look. Like when there's like multiple characters, like stuff like that, where it's like it doesn't seem impressive until like I watch it again. I was like, wow, that's really hard to get that locked down and still look like it's natural, and you didn't do it 20 times, and you're not reading lines, like you're actually talking about this crime. Like I don't whoever played his opposite detective that he used to work with, he was really, really, really good too. I can't remember what his name was, but
It's like Espinosa or
yeah. His character name, but that actor was fantastic too. And I wonder if it's because we obviously watch a lot of older movies, maybe because this was before we were all born, and I have no frame of reference for like what the world looked like at that time, besides just pictures and movies. I get completely just caught up in this, like how I don't know. It's like, yep, this is exactly how it was in Los Angeles in 19 whatever.
I didn't write it down, but apparently the producer, Robert Evans, founder of the famed excellent breakfast establishment. They're not related, but I've been waiting to
Biscuits
say
and gravy.
Robert Evans, who, this is from the era where producers were more, my understanding at least, is that the producers were more creatives involved in the process of developing the movie. And now I feel like producing, there probably is still some of that, but I feel like producing nowadays is more like financier. I get the last decision on questionable concerns or whatever, but it's really more money, the money guy. I don't, Rumja, do you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, it's like Emma Thomas is always Christopher Nolan's thing. So I don't think that she's like in there making decisions, but she's probably, I think you're probably right, talking about like, here's the funding we have, trying to get some more out of the studio, but then like, okay, how are we going to make the things you want to have happen in these
Yeah.
budgets, like the budget
Yeah.
that we have? And keeping director within like that type of framework is kind of my understanding of it. And I think they do have a lot of like thoughts on, I think of like that for like, I think of like that situation. But whenever I think of a producer, I think of Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman, as I think he's a producer in that. And he's talking about like in general, like here's all the things you need to have that are going to make the audience happy, or these are the things that are going to influence people, which is kind of like it's hard to think of like maybe there's just certain producers that are like that, and there are certain ones that are just we're just going to kind of
I
do the finance side.
trust the people to,
The director, the director's the creative motivation, so we'll let them do all that stuff, and I'll do something different.
And I'm
I
sure
think it
every
just
project
depends.
is different too. Like you may have some that are more hands-on and some that are more hands-off. But apparently Robert Evans
Very
wanted
hands-on.
wanted Roman Polanski to do this because he was European, and having a European eye to create like what LA looks like would make it feel darker and more sinister and less glamorized, which at the time like LA was like the cool movie spot. So it is kind of interesting to think like if okay, you send me over to like make a movie in Berlin. Like I don't know anything about Berlin. Maybe I do a little bit, but like having an outsider film an iconic city, that's an interesting approach.
We were talking earlier about how I've watched all these Siskel and Ebert or old, like when they were in sneak previews. One of the things they talked about was Milos Forman, who did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then he did Hair, which is a musical, and then he did a movie called Ragtime, which is about another like era of America. And they're talking about he's like Czechoslovakian, and I think he was a Czechoslovakian like refugee, and they're like, it's crazy that this Czechoslovakian guy knows how to make these movies about America and all the different facets of America, like better than any like American director is doing it right now. And it's so like that's an interesting thought of Robert Evans bringing in a European guy that had a terrible thing happen to him in Los Angeles to make a movie about Los Angeles. So
Yeah, good call. All right, I just got a few left. I guess this is a good jumping off point here. There's a rumor that this was the first part of a planned trilogy by Robert Town, the writer, about Jake Gittes, Los Angeles. The second part, The Two Jakes, came out in 1990. That is a verified sequel. If you go on IMDb, it refers to it as a sequel.
Unfortunately, not in the $5 category yet, but I did add it to my watch list because now I want to see that character again.
Definitely.
15 years later.
I've never seen that one. Directed by Jack Nicholson, and I don't know. I've looked into it how much he's directed, but I can't imagine much. So, the third part never existed, as later confirmed by the writer. However, certain elements and details of the story, a corrupt company called Cloverleaf tries to buy up all the public transportation in order to replace it with freeways, would later end up in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was a film noir spoof homage to Chinatown. Now, I've heard that it's an homage to Chinatown. I didn't know, again, unverified. But according to this, it seems like it literally, like that was...
Like they
it
took the
wasn't
script?
just an homage. It sounds like it was took script elements from it.
Well, that's fun.
So. And that's a great movie.
A movie I have not seen since 1990, but I own.
What
did you say, Matt Jones?
I already said it's unverified. How could it be unverified?
I know. I think some of these have more veracity than others. So
Rumjay had a lot of thumbs ups on this one and very few thumbs downs. So to me, good enough to cut the mustard.
Yeah. I think it broke down when Robert Town was talking about how Jake Geddes was going to have to go into Toontown to figure out what's going on with this Cloverleaf situation.
Who's to say?
Tunes. I might watch that tonight.
All right. So last thing I have on this massive list.
I'm going to say it right now. Two from Roger Rabbit. Better movie than Chinatown.
Ooh. I'll follow up next time we record because I haven't seen it for 35 years.
Maybe that's our next movie for...
I think that's a great pick.
Okay, cool. That's fun.
If
sure.
It's on the list, I think that's a great
pick. It is. I mean, it's definitely years, and I'm almost 100% sure that I got it for $5. Great.
It's on the list.
Awesome. Last thing, on a kind of a bummer bro note, the Van der Lip Dam disaster, which we heard about in the movie, is a reference to the collapse of the St. Francis Dam in 1928, 40 miles northwest of Los Angeles, which had been designed. I like this part, which had been designed by self-educated engineer William Mulholland.
Mulholland
Drive. How do you get self-educated on engineering and somebody's like, "We'll give you the dam"? You sound like you know what you're doing. The consequent flooding killed at least 450 people. Loss of life remains second only to that of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fire in California's history, which is kind of wild. And that's obviously a big piece of this movie. Like, it kind of sets everything in motion why we're having the sort of the water situation. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, wow.
All right, that was more verified, probably a little more verified than the last one.
I would agree with that. That is. I mean, that's probably why they talk about this screenplay so much. Is that you think about it, and it's so cool. Like, you're following this guy because you think it's like, oh, it's a story about him cheating on his wife. And again, as we'll find out with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's very similar overlapping of you think you're trying to follow this story, like this A plot. And what I liked about this one is that there is so much of this second actual A plot that you see as you're following this thing, and you're just like, why the heck are we going to like this town hall meeting where he's like, I'll never build another dam on this type of thing. I'm going out to these pipes in the middle of nowhere. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing if he's cheating on his wife like this? And then you find out it's like, oh, there's like that woman. Okay, there's the cheating. There we go. And it's like, oh, wait, no, all this secondary stuff that you've been seeing and like wondering why the heck are we talking about it when we should be getting to the cheating. It's not it at all. That's the actual story, and that's so cool. That's
a lot of red herrings in the movie.
Yeah, that's why the story that's probably followed is like, you know, while you're talking about the actual story on these like mysteries, make sure you're putting things in the actual story while you have your diversion story that's going on, and then people will be like, wait a second.
Yeah, I think like to your point too. Also, like the unverified fact. Let's assume it's true, but he shot the whole movie from the perspective of the main character. So like we experience everything as Jack Nicholson experiences it. I like that the movie kind of starts with him being like, he gets into a couple arguments throughout the movie. Like I make an honest living, like I'm not some skeezy investigator. Like I'm a legit guy. And as the movie progresses, it becomes less and less about the money and more about like finding the truth. And like the audience is in his shoes, throughout the whole process.
Yeah, the
And
barbershop scene is unbelievable. When kind of like what you're saying, it seems like a throwaway scene. Thank you. Did you pick up that the cop does that in this, Jeremy? The Irish cop when he walks by.
From?
No.
Okay.
But just meaning like
this, right?
Yeah, as he passed Jack Nicholson. But that scene,
I thought of that while watching
it back when he's getting his shakes, like who, I don't know. It's just again, just buying into that character. Like it seemed so natural that he was getting like flustered with this guy, and then he kept on like side eyeing. I was like, was that Roman Polanski telling him to do that? If it was, okay, that's why he's a brilliant director. Because I don't know why he's so highly regarded. I guess I've only seen like a couple of his movies, but. Yeah, wow. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring it up, but it is such a tiny little. It doesn't have anything to do with anything except for your point of his honesty, where you think he's shady beginning, and then when you're with him at the end, you're like, this guy is actually true to his word. Something bad happens. He says he doesn't extort people. Like that's where he draws the line. Because another great line, it's way down the line, but the dad says, "Oh no," he says, "How much are you worth?" "I don't know. How much do you want?" Like stuff like that is just freaking great.
It's like
anyway,
15 million. You worth 15 million? Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The future, Mr. Gitz. Which again, that's a scary line because it's true. Like, when's enough enough? It's like, well, again, in our lifetimes, it used to be a lot to have $1 million. Now, like people would be like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, like $1 million, like that's nothing. You can't live off $1 million. Like, I still think you probably could.
Cool. You know what is cool?
What?
$1 billion.
Right, but it's like if you told someone in 1982, like, oh man, like $1 million, like they'd be the craziest thing ever. So that's why he's doing what he does. So like, as evil as that character is, his motivation is sincere. Like that's the only thing that we don't know. Is like, well, I better have as much as I can because you don't know. What happens if my $1 million isn't worth anything when people are worth 200 billion? I don't know. Anyway, what a movie.
Yeah, and I was just looking at this. Roman Polanski is okay. So I'm terrible with like age math. He was born in August 18th, 1933. So what he'll be 92 in August, or he's already 92. Either way, he's over 90. He is still making movies. His last movie he made was in 2023. He was born in 1933. So this movie would have been, movie would have been made when he was in his mid 40s or so. And this movie is 40 years old. So, it's wild that he's become so prolific. I did dub him Roman Problematic Polanski. I don't know if we wanted to touch on that, but he's like exiled from the United States because kitty diddling or something. I don't know exactly what the story is.
Yeah, if I remember right, he got a 13-year-old like drunk or high or on Quaaludes or something, and then raped her essentially. And there was a discussion. No, you can't do that. And then there was some discussion about like it happened, and he was going to plead guilty to it, and he thought he was going to get off with some like a warning or some probation or something like that. But then he got like word that the judge was actually going to sentence him to like time in jail, and so he just bolted. He was like, "Screw that, I'm out of here." And so if he comes
He's
back,
never come
they're
back.
going to serve him. Yeah, he's never come back because they're going to serve him on that warrant and send him over to L.A. to go serve time in jail. Now, not just because of what he did, but now because he left left the jurisdiction and he tried to evade justice. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
he is always kind of like it is always kind of like a thing of like, yeah, he did that terrible thing. It's not like a, well, there are allegations. Like, no, he straight up did something wrong. And living through the Holocaust and having your wife being murdered by the Manson family, like, doesn't really justify it. Like, he's had traumatic things in his life, but that doesn't justify him being traumatizing other people. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
is one of all those. It is always one of those things with him. Now, I don't know when that happened. I thought it was after this. So I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know when that took place either. I looked through his filmography, and I'm not seeing a ton that I mean, like this,
Rosemary's Baby,
Rosemary's Baby,
Mhm.
and then
which I've not seen.
and then I do a lot of scrolling.
Pianist, which I wouldn't have known it was him.
But so Chinatown's 1974, and The Pianist is 2002.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess being
77,
exiled from a
77
country
is
and
when
being
that
on the
happened.
run and concerned about extradition might slow your creative juices. But he did a lot of things in between too. I just don't know what any of these things are.
But did he win an Oscar for The Pianist, for director or anything, or
No.
does director win a? So, but he wasn't in the States for it.
No, that was the whole thing. Is that if you ever see a meme online of like Martin Scorsese standing up and cheering, and like all these Oscar people standing up and cheering, more than likely it's the time when Roman Polanski won Best Director, and everybody, like a lot of the people in the audience, like stood up and cheered for him for winning Best Director, and it's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
man. Like,
you're not
I don't
helping
know.
this whole pedo thing that people accuse you
Yeah,
of.
yeah, that's not
Yeah, won Best
not
Director in
really cool.
2003, Best Actor in 2003, and Best Adapted Screenplay in 2003. Also nominated was Cinematography and Best Picture, but did not win. It's a great movie.
I was gonna say the Siskel and Ebert. I saw them do the Test, which is 1979, and they said that was a really good movie. And then that's probably where he got the 77 is when he was accused. So probably made that movie and then bolted. And then it's like, all right, well, who's gonna pay for a Roman Polanski movie now? And then it took to Pirates or whatever.
Did you say
So
The Tenant that they
no,
liked?
Tess,
Oh, Tess.
Tess,
Okay.
Tess. Yeah.
I'm looking at the list. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know. I really like this movie. I watched it quite a while ago. It was after college, but it's been definitely more than 10 years. And I think the ending bummed me out to a point that I think I had in my mind that I didn't like the movie.
It's absolute
So,
same.
I would
and,
agree. Yeah.
and so I didn't remember the ending, but I remember it had a bummer ending. And so I watched it again. And I think the second time I was able to enjoy all the stuff leading up to the bummer ending a little bit more. So I don't know if I agree with the ending. I don't know if we want to get into that, but everything that gets you from point A to point B, all the characters, all the side travels, the red herrings, as I mentioned, it all works very well. I like Jack Nicholson. I like Faye Dunaway. I like the police side characters. I like John Huston. I like all the skeezy, again, the guy from Magnum PI at the front office, the bureaucracy of local government is interesting. The dumping of the water. No, we don't dump the water. Oh, I'm sorry. One thing I wanted to call out: the scene when he goes and visits the orchard. They're like, "Oh, we're giving them all the water. The orchard's doing great." And so he goes and visits the orchard. And there's this sequence where he tries to escape, and they have a camera over the shoulder in the car. And I'm like, did they just let Jack Nicholson just drive through tree? Like, it was a very intense sequence, and I thought it was really cool, the perspective.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I can't remember the exact scene, but there was multiple times where I think when he's like climbing up when he gets water on him and the drain and he's like pulling, like that's all Jack. Like I was like, that's got to be a stunt double. It's like, no, it's him doing like all this crazy shit. Like what is he doing? Maybe it was before he was like, you know, the golden boy actor, but yeah, I was impressed. As I said, I don't know if I consider myself a Jack Nicholson fan by any stretch. Like I think obviously like Joker, and he's been in like some wonderful movies, but this totally sold me on him being like, no, he's a fucking amazing actor, and like put in his work before he became, like, I hate to say prima donna, because just like I hate to say Bill Murray, because like I think I love Bill Murray, and then it's like, yeah, he's kind of like, is he a super ego full of himself? But then like, no, is he kind of okay? I don't know. And I just saw he was on the Fire Wings show, so it's like
Oh, Hot Ones.
Thank you. It's like, okay,
Wait,
I
who was
don't
on
know.
there?
Bill Murray. But like, is he gonna be like? Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about that. Jack Nicholson, like driving that car. Yeah, I think he was really doing that crazy shit. And to your point, like those old cars had like real glass windows, and like I don't know if they took them out, but like I've only been to those like once or twice, and I was terrified because like if something hits this, it's breaking in half, and a big plane of glass cutting me in half. Like fuck classic cars. But so him driving through that, I was like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, good. And I completely forgot about that scene. So much happens in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to the point I just made about Jack Nicholson, like he just gets the shit beat out of him. Like not obviously in real life, but like his character time and time again. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like just chill out. Don't mind your own business. Like no, he wants the truth at cost of his nose, and I think he gets beat up a couple times. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
Yeah, and we get to see him win the fight when he goes later in the movie to the nursing home, who we find all the elderly folks there are like the actual real owners of all the land, but they don't know it.
Right.
And he gets in a fisticuff as he's exiting. He beats up the guy, and they start shooting at him as he jumps on the car. Faye Dunaway drives away. Like that was like a really good scene. Interesting though, as they're shooting into the darkness, it's a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it foreshadowing, but like they shoot into the darkness later on in the movie, and it's a different outcome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't, without going through, there's so many kind of like, not twists and turns, but just, I don't know. It's such a fantastic movie, as we've been saying all night. And I think I saw it probably in 2004 or 5 for the first time when I was working at the video store and took it home because everyone said, you know, especially you worked at a movie store too, Jeremy, like movie people come in and talk about movies and they tell you what you kind of watch. And it's a great opportunity to watch a bunch of stuff. But now watching it back the second time, I remember why, same thing you said, was like, I thought I didn't like the movie because it does such a perfect job of introducing characters and me being kind of neutral about everybody. Like, I don't really like Jack Nicholson. I don't really like Faye Dunaway because they're kind of like, I don't know what's going on between them. Horrible, horrific things happen throughout the story to these people and their histories where it's like, wow, that's so awful. But like, it's finally coming around at the end. Like, I'm falling in love with them. I want things to happen. And then it's like, fucking nope. The worst person in the world gets shot in the shoulder. The hero gets shot in the eyeball, and movie's over. Yeah. It's like you took me on this roller coaster of emotions, and then it's just like, fuck you, we don't care. It's like, why do I care then? Why did I get so invested? And watching it like the third time for this, because I watched it again, and then a third time just to make sure I could talk about it, it's like, you're not as attached, but like that's what really made me think why I thought that way the first time. It's like, you got me so hard into these people with perfect writing and direction, then it just fucking pissed it all away at the end. Like, I don't really care about happy endings, but that's when I was like, no, I really wanted them to have a happy ending, man. I really, really did. Yep. I would have been very happy. And I really thought that was going to happen. I thought I always spoilers. I thought the thing I didn't like was the incest part. Like, ooh, that was really rough to hear about. And like, you don't really fully get the understanding of it. And then it's kind of away and she gets killed. That's like the super bummer, but it's like, okay, yeah, they pull the rug out from you twice.
It's like the movie ends where all the characters you've been rooting for the whole time are finally making good moral decisions. Like They're looking out for others. They're putting others before themselves. It's no longer about money. It's about preservation, all this. And then that's when the rug gets pulled from you. Yeah, it's a brutal ending. I have to think, like, I mean, there's obviously, we were talking about Requiem for a Dream before the movie, or I don't know if we were recording when we were talking about that, but dude, there's a litany of bummer bro ending movies out there, and it'd be fun to like look at. I'm sure there's a list on Gawker. Is Gawker still a thing? There's a list somewhere of like the most bummer bro movies of all time, and this would like
for sure.
This has to be like, you know, this is an early bummer bro ending. So I would guess that, I don't know, this probably was, I would guess this movie is highly influential. I don't know that for a fact. Obviously, I saw a reference to it shared today and from Inside Out. I'm sure The Simpsons has like 19 episodes that reference it, right?
Sure.
Oh, gosh. Now I've got to think. Oh, well, let's see. Oh, goodness. Almost certainly. Sorry, completely side tangent, but we talk about it sometimes. I recently got season 2 and 3 of The Simpsons on Amazon because I went to sale for $9. I haven't seen them for 15 or 20 years. And the amount of references of movies that like we've seen, I know we didn't see Vertigo for this, but I've seen it since I saw those episodes of The Simpsons. And there's like crazy references of Vertigo, where like Skinner's like going up a thing. It's like, yeah, they reference all. There wasn't a fucking, excuse my language, an original idea in The Simpsons. I thought they were brilliant. They just ripped off all the movies they had seen when they were like in their late 20s, early 30s writing. Like,
yeah.
I thought that was a Simpsons thing. Like, no, the pulling away and the, yeah. No, so now I got to think about it. But I'm sure there's like Wiggum as him or something like that. I like that challenge, Jeremy. I like that challenge a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why that this ending bums me out the most is that it doesn't. It's not because of, like, it's a bummer ending, and it happens not because of anything. Like, if the character makes a mistake of, like, you know, what do they call it, like hubris or something like that, or the bad guy outsmarts them somehow, I feel like it's a little bit easier to kind of take, which may or may not be real life, but these are movies, they're not real life. But like the bummer bro ending is that, like, oh, they followed him or they took him, like, she didn't leave soon enough, which I'm like, why didn't you just send her to Mexico right away as opposed to, you know, wherever it is in Chinatown? Why didn't you just send her right away? And then, like, oh, it just happens that she gets shot in the head. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, John Huston outsmarted him and got the girl, and, you know, that's a bummer because he got his daughter slash granddaughter. You know, he didn't it's not like he really outsmarted him. It just kind of, she just, like, she had that gun, she shot him, and then she got shot in the head, and it's like, oh, like, that's why I think it bums me out even more. It's just like the kind of random chaos of life. It's not like, well, I did something wrong as a decision. You know, I think that's what bums me out more about it. But
back to the unverified fun facts. I did not read this one. The film's enigmatic title is a metaphor for moral corruption by unseen forces. Throughout the film, Jake Gittes refers to his time as a police officer in Chinatown, where, quote unquote, you can't always tell what's going on. In Hollywood, the movie's line, "Forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown," has become a mantra for those who have been burned or snubbed by the entertainment industry, the implication being that it's better to let it go than to make an issue of it, because that's just how the industry works. So, I don't know.
It's just life. Life sucks.
I never even tried to go to Hollywood, so.
I mean,
suckers.
It's crazy. This final time I rewatched it, the end, I mean, I think the layers upon layers upon layers, right? It's like she ultimately did the wrong thing by shooting him. If she would have just been able to pull away, they wouldn't have shot at her, right? So, because it wasn't kidnapping. So her trying to keep the truth about her sister's paternal identity was what really caused it. So the dishonesty, but at the same time, the corruption is so deep that she felt that she could, like this guy owns, like she said, he owns the police as she's, before she shoots him to drive away. And then I did notice the main cop is shooting at the tires before his gun jams or something. And then his buddy is the one that starts shooting at a head level. So it's like,
interesting.
Step by step by step, it like kind of breaks down. I was like, okay, yes, this is where she made the mistake, but it was so corrupt. So then it's like, that's where the bummer is like, no, it is just chaos.
I guess they're right.
You can't, and not to bring in like current day politics, but it's like when you can just basically do whatever you want and get away with it, it's like you are left to nothing. Like, okay, I'm just going to pull the trigger. And she missed. That was the biggest mistake when I saw it. I was like, oh, I thought she killed him. At least that would have been, a good thing to do. But then he's alive. I'm like, no, this fucking movie. Fuck this movie, dude. But again, the last time I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen. So I wasn't bamboozled. But this second time, watching it for this, I was totally hoodwinked again. I thought that the bummer part had already come and gone. And that's like, fuck. It's so much worse.
Yeah, there's something about
4 out of 4 stars.
I mean, there's like you have the bummer bro ending, like the so and so I like died at the end, but there's something beyond that like this movie I think captures the whole ending of justice was not served, and corruption continues, and the mechanisms of unholiness continue to spin. Like that's the takeaway is like. Things will continue. Justice is not served. The people that deserve justice will continue to run the things behind the scenes and all that. And I think
because it's Chinatown.
It's Chinatown, but it's a reflection of reality too.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. It's like when everyone says like, "Have you heard about what happened?" It's like it's Chinatown. That's what I'm going to say about United States anymore. Like, don't worry about it. It's Chinatown. Pay your taxes.
Yep.
And hope they don't come for you, man.
Yeah,
it's Chinatown. Well, now I'm super bummed out. This movie sucks.
-5 stars.
Yeah, I mean, but okay. So I mean, we don't have to wrap up necessarily, but like, I don't know if I'd recommend this or not. I mean, I think it's absolutely brilliant, but I don't know.
This is a lot like Rope for me, where it's like I can tell it's really well made, it's well acted, but. And I would say the one thing that's different from Rope is that it's like Rope. I don't like it when you know who the bad guy is, and so like throughout the movie, that was a bummer for me. Whereas like in this one, it's just the ending that kind of bums me out and makes me be like, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? And I guess the learning is like what you said. It's just like, justice isn't always served, and corruption continues, and it's like. Well, I don't like that answer. I don't like that story. And so, like, I'd probably still recommend it because it's a really interesting trek, and it helps you understand like where Who Framed Roger Rabbit came from and like how that's influenced. But,
so recommend Who Framed Roger. I don't remember Who Framed Roger Rabbit having nearly as horrible of an ending as this. I think Doc Brown gets dropped into acid.
That's why that's why Who Framed Roger Rabbit better movie because it has
LA Confidential. You get a justice served kind of ending, and it's very similar to this movie.
Yes, that is very. Yeah, that's a good one. I like LA Confidential more than this.
Yeah. Watch that
one I'd
instead
rather
of
watch
Chinatown.
again. Yeah, but you still watch it because I mean it's well acted, and well made, and you'll see a lot. I mean, you get the influences. You understand where things are referencing Chinatown. So
definitely. I would compare that. So I like this movie, but I would compare it a little bit to. I'm looking at my OneNote because I'm a person who uses OneNote at home. Saturday Night Fever. It's not really like that movie, but there's a lot of bummer bro elements to that movie that I think there's a lot of elements of the journey. Like part of the movie's purpose is to process through like all the things that take place. You sort of have like the unfortunateness of the world continues to spin a little bit in that movie as well. But also the main reason I brought it up is just, I think that's a movie that everyone that's a fan of film should watch. And I think same goes with this. Like I would highly recommend it just purely because it's kind of like you got to see Chinatown, bro. You got to watch Chinatown. You never seen Saving Private
Well,
Ryan,
I can get it
bro?
done.
You got to watch Saving Private Ryan.
I've never seen Saving Private Ryan
There you
because
go.
I know it's going for the same reason. Like the brutality of it, I don't want to believe is true, but it's probably 100 times worse than anything they could portray on film. Like actually going through some of the stuff that happens in that movie. So it's like, same thing with this, with the caveat of like, you gotta be in a mood, and like checking out and being entertained is not necessarily the mood. Like
Yeah.
thinking and feeling, like it's important to do those things. I think film as an art form is wonderful to do that, but it's the same thing with like music. Like I'm not going to listen to Converge if I want to chill out at night. Like I might listen to Converge
Right.
once a year when I want to like go crazy for 27 minutes or something like that. But
And that's kind of why I compare it to Saturday Night Fever because
sure,
Saving
same.
Private Ryan, you know, going in, you're in for a ride. Like it's not going to be pleasant. It's considered one of the most accurate portrayals of warfare ever on film. It's going to be unpleasant. Saturday Night Fever, I thought was a feel good, have fun disco movie. It's kind of a bummer, bro. This movie I thought was sort of a feel good cop, noir drama. It's kind of a bummer, bro, too. And they have similar themes behind them that, and I like how the movies kind of subvert like what you think you're going into to like leave you with a bit of a message. I don't know if I'm capturing what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I'm kind of rambling, but
it's exactly what Matt Jones said earlier too. It's you think you're getting into one story about he's an infidelity detective, and he's just like everyone you see him initially is like people, and the person is not the real wife of Mulray, but like, okay, this is a movie about this kind of shit, like what? And then it flips. Same thing, Saturday Night Fever. It's like, oh, it's about John Travolta dancing and like drinking with his buddies, like, and about like being stuck in a place and growing up and dead end, living and stuff like that. So, yeah. Meaning, I'm signing up to go see this movie about this, and like, oh, it's not about that at all. The backdrop of.
Sometimes
and
it's
then
fun.
just
Sometimes
watch Roger
it's
Rabbit.
fun. Like nobody wants to feel bad at the end of the movie, but sometimes it's fun when a movie is capable of surprising you like that. And like I think this movie definitely it's a surprise ending.
So. Yeah. Last thing I'll say before we is like with both of those movies, and I would say that Saturday Night Fever didn't bum me out as much, despite it not having like a quote unquote happy ending. I wish I would have had a warning for this one in particular. Not just, it's a great movie, you got to see it. Like, watch it when you're ready to feel like kind of shitty about human beings and get over it, because it's Chinatown. So,
Watched it with Stacy. She lucked out. She fell asleep about halfway through, so she only has the good vibes.
Dude, I could see that too. As much as I love it, it's a very slow, drawn out movie. But as far as for me goes, like that's what you just said about, you're always, and I didn't notice this, you're always with that character. He's in every scene. Sometimes it's just 20 seconds of him walking down a hallway. It's like, why did he establish the shot all the way back there? Mm-hmm. It makes you feel lived in. And I mean, I don't think you see any of like the Hallmark LA. Like you don't see the Hollywood Hills or anything like that. So, no cheap shots.
And the movie's namesake, you don't see it till the last 5 minutes of the movie either.
Yep.
The moral of the story is, don't steal from the water company.
For Jungle
I don't think that's the
Matt
lesson.
Jones.
I don't think that's the lesson.
That's not the lesson?
No.
Advice for life.
Can you at least appreciate that I tried to shoehorn that joke?
Oh, no,
into
I can.
A reference.
I appreciate
it's a callback.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Rumja? Recommended or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think you recommend it just because it's a piece of I think it's reflected in a lot of other things, but it doesn't make me feel really great about it. It's as much as like an ending can really kind of tarnish how you feel about a movie. This one definitely does, and I don't like the lessons it's trying to teach me, so I reject it.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, Godfather Part 2 is easier to enjoy in that way because it's a world that doesn't it completely exists like separate from me. Like I don't plan on going to the mafia. I don't plan on being involved with the mafia. I don't even like Las Vegas, so I don't plan on going back to Las Vegas anytime. So let them fight with one another.
Cuba.
So, oh yeah, Cuba.
I agree with everything you just said. I just really like the line where you said, "I don't plan to go to the mafia."
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like
Nobody does.
Well, but no, I take that. No. Like the first time I saw Goodfellas, like for almost all of that movie, I'm like, motherfucker, I want to be a gangster. And I'm almost 100% sure I saw it with like Alan in Bloomington some night where it's like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to do that. And it's like, oh no, it's a bunch of bad stuff. And you eventually
It's all fine
die.
until Joe Pesci shows up.
I was gonna say, I really want to be a gangster until the point where Joe Pesci kills Billy Bats, and then everything just goes downhill from there. All of his friends get killed by Robert De Niro.
That movie's probably eligible, right? What is that,
Oh,
93?
it certainly is. It's 1990.
99. 1990.
Lost to Dances with Wolves for Best Picture of the Year.
Ooh.
And Kevin Costner won Best Director and beat Martin Scorsese, who did not. For as great of a director as Martin Scorsese is, he finally won for The Departed. It took him that long, 2005.
Which I didn't care for at all.
Loved The Departed.
I hear people really love that movie. I could have been in a bad mood when I saw it, and I was just like, this is stupid. Or it got hyped too much.
Could have been a guy. Yeah, that's definitely.
Well,
There's some things that are a little on the nose on it, but
I hate to say, like, I heard about the Boondock Saints so much for like years. And like, it's the best action. It's gonna fuck the Matrix, fuck Fight Club, blah blah blah. And then I was like, this movie sucks.
I felt exactly.
What did anybody get? Why did everyone say this is like the greatest underground cult movie? It'll blow your mind.
It's a psyop to get college students to put the posters in their dorm rooms.
That must have been what it was.
Because I remember seeing the poster in people's dorm rooms, and I'm like, what? I feel like half the people that had it had never seen the movie, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. But I was gonna say, Jeremy.
Now I want to watch Fight Club again, see if that holds up for me. All these movies that I watched back in those, like in that 1999 region when it was like late teenage years, I'm like, I wonder if I love those movies. Like, I wonder if this still holds up, if I still care about this at all.
I bought Fight. It was one of the first $5 movies I bought on Amazon. I have not watched it since because I'm afraid that I won't like it. But I also bought The Matrix and went back and watched that, not knowing, and I think that movie is fucking awesome. I still think that's a super cool movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the sequels, but
I'd love to rewatch Fight Club. I haven't seen it forever.
Yeah.
Actually, for Christmas, I got Fight Club 2. Believe it or not,
Oh,
Fight Club 2, written by Chuck Palahniuk, follow up to the original book, but they released it only as a graphic novel. So I have it on my shelf. I haven't read it yet, but I'm kind of like, it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, last thing. You can see the Siskel and Ebert story on the episode of The Critic where Jay Sherman replaces, or he's in interviewing replacing Siskel and Ebert because they broke up. And it's unbelievably funny episode. I don't know where you can stream it. You'd probably have to find it on YouTube.
Right. It's like a Sleepless in Seattle mention, like at the end where they meet on some sort of building. I forget.
Oh yeah. To get them back together. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
You liked Carnosaur. Oh yeah. Oh my god. that show is by far the best cartoon of all time. Short run, but they're all bangers. Sorry.
I know you're good. I had two final thoughts, just notes that I never got to. First one is, what's the deal with the long cigarette holders? I don't know what the origin of those is. I don't know what functional purpose they serve other than like it looks elegant because it's like I don't touch my cigarette. I put it in this.
Let's say, isn't it kind of like to protect your fingers from getting a bunch of tobacco on them? Like
maybe I've never known.
You just hold the holder and you smoke it that way, and
But they went away.
Extra fingers.
Nobody uses the long cigarette holder anymore.
Oh, like the ivory cigarette holders or something?
Like
You don't.
Cruella de Vil, like you got this long thing, and then the cigarette plugs into the end.
Not the cigarette case, Troy. We're talking
Oh.
about the thing that the lengthy thing that people will hold
Yes,
and smoke
yes.
their cigarettes out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's well, that's obviously to not get the smell and stuff on your fingers, but were people using those in this movie that I didn't see?
Either Faye Dunaway does, or the woman who pretends to be Faye Dunaway at the
Okay, it must have been her because
not prevalent throughout.
Okay. Because I was like, I do remember they had multiple. He takes out his cigarette case multiple times and does the smack. So I'm guessing they're smoking unfiltered.
The cigarette cases are really cool too. I have to say, like, if cigarette smoking comes back, hopefully it doesn't. All that, but if it does, can we at least bring the cigarette cases back? I think we should.
It's like that one was given to me as a gift, and it was sold to them as an ID case. So they're still they're still being purposed for things, but it is definitely just a cigarette case. And we sold them at Urban Outfitters, the same thing as ID cases. But I think I sent you a text message. It's been weeks now. This movie made me want to smoke so bad because every scene they're lighting up. Every scene.
Yeah.
Someone is either smoking a cigarette, lighting another cigarette, or there's even a scene where she lights up another cigarette after she's already smoking a cigarette. And he makes it a point to say, you're lighting another cigarette.
And then there's the scene at the water facility where he lights up a cigarette. They're like, you can't smoke here. And he's like, we'll make an exception.
Yeah.
It's like, we need more smoking in this movie. We can't tell him no.
I can't remember. It's like, I do occasionally. I've got one friend that still smokes. And like, when I'm hanging out with him, like, I'll smoke a cigarette maybe every third time we hang out. Like, you want one? I'm like, oh yeah, you give me a cigarette, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, the first one tastes like a cigarette. It's fine. But I don't like smoking cigarettes. I certainly don't go buy cigarettes. I don't like smoke a bunch. But this movie really makes me to what I don't want to say our parents or whoever's parents feared. And I guess I don't. Matt Jones, did you ever smoke cigarettes? Ever? Have you ever smoked a cigarette or taken a drag off of one? Okay. I don't know if it's just because I've had such wonderful times smoking cigarettes with people and all that kind of stuff. So I have that kind of nostalgia, but like, I really was craving cigarettes for this, and I don't know why. I think that's why, because I know it doesn't taste good, and I know it hurts my lungs after 2. But I was like, oh man, if I had a pack of cigarettes right now, I would be smoking this entire time.
Because it's the danger of cigarettes is that they look really, really cool.
Sorry, yes, I went way wrapped around my head.
But they look cool.
That's exactly what I was trying to get to. Like, are people's fear of you don't want to see people smoking in movies and stuff because it does look cool. But maybe that's because again I don't think I thought that before I actually smoked cigarettes. But maybe I could be wrong.
The movie has all the nice tactical sounds to it as well. Like, so like the clickety clack of the opening of the case, the Zippo lighters, and then it's got everything to make you want to smoke. So I get it.
God, I wish I had a pack of cigarettes right now.
I love the scene where he's waiting in the waiting room. He goes to see the water person. I can't remember who it is. And he's like, he's going to be busy all day. He's like, I take a long lunch. Sometimes I just take lunch for the rest of the day. And she's like really pissed. And then he just starts smoking. And I'm like, could you imagine if somebody did that now? And then you just were like, also, fuck you, because I'm going to smoke in here, even though you probably don't want me to. Different time.
He at least offered her one, and she declined.
Yeah. And then, sure enough, he was ready within 3 minutes. Last thing I had, when he goes to look at the water records place, he goes and he rips out a sheet. Did anyone think a little bit of the librarian scene in The Last Crusade? Because I was like, I was wondering if the librarian scene from The Last Crusade is actually an homage to this movie. I would like to think that it is, though, Ronja.
You could go ahead. You're more than welcome.
Don't steal my dreams from me.
He wasn't using the other guy's actions to cover up his ripping, which is what happened in Indiana Jones, and that wasn't even. It was inadvertent.
Yes, I was exactly what I was going to use. Yep, it was just clever editing, Mr. Spielbergo.
All right.
Also a Simpsons reference.
That's all my notes I have.
Give me his non-union Mexican equivalent. All right, Steven Spielbergo. I want something what Spielberg did for
Well,
Schindler. I want you to do. Yeah.
back to an OMIO classic. George C. Scott getting hit in the groin with the football into the groin. My groin.
But football in the groin.
Scott is so good.
Football in the groin had football in the groin. Oh my goodness gracious! Sorry, Jeremy.
It's like kissing a peanut.
Yeah. Okay. We can't absolutely wrap this up. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I did
I
have
always enjoy the Simpsons references because I rarely understand them, but like I hear you explain them, and I'm like, okay, I can imagine how that would happen in a Simpsons episode. That's usually my train of thought.
I finally had the revelation because I haven't had this revelation because I only hang out typically with people my own age that grew up in the similar, watching the same things. I was doing a Overwatch chat and somebody, I don't think too much younger than me, tried to pull a reference from Parks and Recreation. And like they didn't understand that I didn't get the reference. Like, oh, just like in Parks and Rec. I'm like, have you seen that? I'm like, I know the name, but like I couldn't name you a character. Like, oh, I guess that's why I didn't get the joke. I'm like, sorry, dude. But it was just so casual. Like when I say Simpsons reference, it's like, oh yeah, everyone gets that reference. Like, nah, because they thought that I was hip or something. Like, no. So now I understand your plight, where it's like, yep, if it's an Office reference, I don't get it. But I do respect that those shows are so popular that people talk about them as if everyone saw them, and I just didn't get to see that one. So
I view The Office and Parks and Rec as very millennial, and Simpsons is, I think, in my opinion, a little more Gen X-y, and we are all of the age of like even though I'd say we are all technically millennials, we're right on that line, I think.
Elder millennials.
Elder millennials for sure.
No, and I think that's a great point. It's in like how it makes my brain think about it. Because the same thing, there's people that are probably borderline, whatever the new generation is. That's where it's like slightly more influenced by their older siblings' likes than their peers, at least initially. Like growing up watching my sister's movies, like much late 70s, early 80s versus late 80s movies, which is what I was of age to like that stuff. So I can dig that.
I mean, generation after us never had to go to a video store or wanted or needed to. And that's kind of wild. Like going to the video store, like I wouldn't give that memory up for anything. I loved going to the video store. I loved going and like I went there to rent blank movie and they're out of it. And
of course.
Now I'm looking for something else. And like the adventure of figuring out what that was. I mean, it's literally like walking around the aisles is literally the scrolling that we do now. It's the same thing, except Netflix is never out of anything. It's just they're all.
I can't take my my report card to Netflix and get free videos like I could with Family Video. That was something I definitely did.
Family Video is the bomb.
And I'd also say I can't remember one time going into a video store, spending an hour and walking out with nothing, whereas I've heard multiple stories and anecdotes of people spending an hour on Netflix and then not watching anything at all and just doing something else or turning it off and going to bed. Like, so you just scrolled for an hour, like, it's like, okay. But it's a thing to do, pass this time, right?
I'm not too bad about the scrolling, but I'll start things and I'll get 5 minutes in and be like, nah, not tonight.
Wow, like the
and
music
then I'll start
syndrome.
Another thing, nah, not tonight. So on my Plex server, there's all these like in the continue watching section. There's all these things that have like this little teeny tiny progression bar.
Oh my god!
Oh man, I want to watch Fight Club now. I want to watch Saving Private Ryan, and we're gonna definitely hit. Are we watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Is
that what we decided on? We can.
Why not?
That's fine.
Why not?
I mean, it'd be a perfect time to. I haven't seen it for, like I said, since the videotape came out the Christmas of 1990 or 1989.
Yeah.
My sister's movie, so that's the only reason I saw it. I don't have a strong history with it.
R.I.P. Bob Hoskins.
I've seen it multiple times in the last few years because I showed it to the boys and they loved it. And then Eva heard that I was showing it to the boys and she was not as keen on me showing it to them. She's like, I think it's a little adult for them. And so
what component of it was she most concerned about? The sexual innuendo?
The sexuality. Okay. Yeah,
because the little shoe The little cartoon shoe. That's like devastating. I think that's like the most horrifying thing in the whole movie.
As a kid, totally traumatized me as a kid.
I almost don't want to watch it again because of that.
No, because it's totally like taking a dog and putting it into a vat of something that just murders a dog. It's what it looks like. Yeah. No, I got you.
All right. Well, looking forward to talking about that more.
All right.
Thanks, Rumja.
I can't wait to see how many unverified facts we're going to talk about on that one.
But yeah, did you know that there was a Chinatown 4 and 5 that never got released, and that actually it's Toy Story and Moana? That's what those scripts are based on.
Well, you guys are hating on Toy Story last time too. All right, I'm gonna any last thing to say before I end this, and then we can.
What are you talking? Hold on,
friend chat wrap.
Talking trash about Toy Story.
I thought both of you guys were like, Toy Story 1 looks like crap now. You can't even watch it. It hurts your eyes.
The animation doesn't look good, but it's a wonderful movie. You can't hold it accountable to the technology.
What kind of snobbery? The animation doesn't look good? I bet it looks amazing. I bet it still looks amazing. That's like saying, it was recorded. That record, Led Zeppelin 3 was recorded in 1972. It doesn't sound good anymore because it was recorded in 1972.
No, it does not work this way. A visual
medium
is different than an audio medium. You look at Toy Story 4, and then you go and watch Toy Story 1 and tell me, oh yeah, this holds up. This looks fine. You absolutely cannot do that.
I think
it's like that Dire Straits.
I will go right now.
In a microwave oven. That's like Toy Story 1.
Money for nothing. Yeah.
It's like the first CG music video, right?
I don't believe that at all. I mean, I don't think
that bad, but
I don't think Toy Story will ever go to $5 because it's a Disney. Doesn't Disney own it?
Yeah.
But I will try to find it for $5 and
Troy,
let you know.
Understand, Rumja and
same thing with Shrek.
I don't want to speak for Rumja, but I love Toy Story 1. Like, that's the movie I know the best.
It's a good movie.
I love it. I saw it with my mom in the theater. It's fantastic. It's just that it's kind of like I don't know. We could watch E.T. Like, some of the special effects don't look that good anymore. I don't care. It's still a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge it based on the time. I know the spaceship wasn't real. I know that E.T.'s probably a puppet.
I'm just saying, go check the tape. There was a lot of shade being thrown at Toy Story.
E.T. was probably a puppet. It's probably the best line of the whole entire
unverified fact. He might be real.
That's another movie I haven't seen for 50 years.
I'll put that.
Oh man, that's another good movie.
If that score doesn't bring a tear to your eye, just hearing the swells, you have no soul. I'm serious. I think E.T. the score to it is one of the greatest of all time. It's so good.
See, I've got a beef with soundtracking. I do, because I got emotional watching Wonder Woman and pressed the mute button, and then I was like, this movie is so stupid. Why am I getting like emotionally invested in a Wonder Woman movie? And
it's the first Wonder Woman movie?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was a good movie, but like I was almost crying.
The score is great too.
That is exactly why. And I pressed
where she like blocks the bullets going across the
I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember. But whatever it was, I thought back. I was like, this is just the music, because there's nothing visually working me up into an emotional state. Like, I'm almost crying. I pressed mute, and like I said, all emotion went completely away. It was like, okay, Wonder Woman's jumping through the air, or whatever the fuck she was doing, or Chris Pine. Anyway, why don't we get off on that topic? Anyway, Toy Story is great. Shrek is great. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Shrek sucks. Shrek is terrible.
Donkey, what are you doing, Donkey?
Did you see the teaser for the new one?
For new Shrek?
I think it's Shrek 5. His teenage daughter's there. She's like, "Oh, Dad," and I'm like, "Ugh." She's probably gonna, I don't know, like he's gonna forget the password to his Spotify account, and she's gonna get upset over it. That's what Shrek 5 will do.
That's probably Toy Story 4 too.
Like
I bet there's cell phones and smartphones in some of those movies. I'm sure The Simpsons has like cell phones in it now, and I can't.
Uber gonna get here? The ogre's right. Have Ubers, but it's a dragon instead. Get it?
I was gonna say it wouldn't be a car. It would be an ogre. Where's my ogre? And then it's gonna ride on the ogre.
Oh, that's premium fees because there's sheep in the field, and this is when dragons eat sheep.
Stars.
Sounds like a riot.
Will be the ogre. And it'll be
Sounds
like, "Please
uproarious."
rate me 5 stars.
I've never.
Please tip me. Do you have a tip? Can you give
How
me
many
cash
Shreks are there? I saw the second one.
for?
Oh, well, I like the second one a lot. I can't remember what
There's
the
like
second
a
one was about.
holiday one and some offshoots, I think. And then the Minions movie. I'm just kidding.
Does it have anything to do with? I've never seen those. Oh,
It's the same type of humor, but it's a little bit better.
I got to go back and watch all the Shreks now and just see if they hold up.
No, you don't. That's what
I really
we're
want
telling
to.
you. No, forbidden.
I don't trust you.
Oh, donkey! Oh,
All
you
right,
farted.
thank you, Matt
Reach
Jones.
farther away. I gotta reach further.